In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a classified listing website step by step. I will specifically show you how to create a classified listing website using WordPress. Before we get started, let me show you what we will achieve by the end of this tutorial. So if users land on the home page of my website, the first thing they see is this cool hero section where they can easily search for listings by location, category, or enter some keywords. Going down is a popular category section, featured listings section, some top locations section, a section for numbers, pricing, and finally a section for blog posts. From the home page, users can start searching for available products. So if they want to search by location, all they need to do is click on select location and we'll have a pop-up for the location. I go ahead and choose California, for example. Then I select Downey and I will be redirected to the particular listing page. Awesome. If I go back to the home page, users can also search based on category. So these are the available categories I have on my website. Maybe I want to choose property. Then under property, I choose apartments and flats and I'll be redirected to the listings page. Perfect. Going back, users can also search based on keywords. So if I click in here and I type maybe camera, I have a perfect match. Awesome. Users can also search for product by going to the all ads page. That is the page where all ads can be located. They can search by type. For instance, if they search by sell, it will display all items that are for sale. They can also search by category. They can also search by location, which we have already seen. They can search by ratings. And finally, they can search by price. If I choose a particular product like this, then I go through the products. And finally, I decide that I want to get in touch with the seller. I can either take the seller's number and contact them, or I can chat them directly on the website. Let's see how the chat works. So if I click right here, it will open up the chat window. I just click in here, then I enter hello as an example, hit enter. Then the seller will receive this message. Now if I go to a new private window as a seller, right here under chat, you see that I have one. It means that I have a new message. I click in there and this is the new message. I click on it. I can reply to the message from here. Hi, what can I do for you? Enter and the message is sent. Now if I go back to the buyer's account, you see the message right here. Awesome. By the end of this tutorial, I'll show you how you can add categories onto your website. I'll also show you how you can create locations as well as add custom fields onto your website. I'll also show you how users can add listings onto your website and how you can go ahead and approve them. I will show you how you can allow your sellers to be able to sell their listings for free. And I'll also show you how you can set prices so that sellers will have to buy either regular packages or membership packages. To create our classified listing website, we are going to use a theme that is made perfectly for listings website. By the end of this tutorial, you will have a fully customizable listing website to start generating sales with. In this video, I'll show you how you can get your very own custom domain name and web hosting. That is a standard for every website. I'll also show you how you can download the theme that we are going to be using in order to create our website. Without wasting further time, buckle up and let's get started with the step-by-step tutorial.
Hello guys, this is Swadik here at Dikupages Web, where I do web tutorials just like this one. So if you are new here, consider subscribing. That said, let's jump into the video.
To make any kind of website, you need to get a domain name and a web hosting, which is a standard for every website. Now, what is a domain name? A domain name is simply the address of your website. For example, your businessname.com, google.com, facebook.com, or even dikupages.com. Now, what is a web hosting? A web hosting is simply a server where all the text, images, videos, audios, and even documents of our website will be stored so that anybody around the world can have access to them on our website wherever they are. This server is sitting somewhere in the world which runs 24/7 so that our website will always be live across the internet. So to get the fastest, reliable, and cheap web hosting, go over to your browser and enter dikupages.com/nh. Hit enter, and this will bring you to namehero.com. Namehero is an award-winning web hosting platform which is blazing fast, easy to use, and has a supreme reliability that scales. At the time of recording this video, Namehero was powering over 750,000 websites. Namehero offers different web hosting services like website builder, web hosting, reseller hosting, and managed cloud. You can also buy domain names only on Namehero. For this tutorial, we are going to concentrate on web hosting, which is a shared hosting service. If we scroll down, you see the various shared hosting packages on Namehero, where they have the Starter Cloud, Plus Cloud, Table Cloud, and Business Cloud. With the Starter Cloud, which is ideal for beginner or personal websites, the price starts at $2.15 per month, where you can get only one website, 1 GB RAM, unlimited SSD storage, free cPanel, free and auto SSL certificate, free website migrations, and free light speed. The Plus Cloud, which is best for average websites, has a starting price of $4.79 per month, where you can host up to 7 websites with 2 GB of RAM, unlimited SSD storage, and you also get the rest of the features on the Starter Cloud. Next is Table Cloud, which is the most popular, has a starting price of $7.38 per month, where you can host unlimited websites with 3 GB RAM. With the Table Cloud, you get unlimited NVMe storage, which is highly faster than the SSD storage. You also get a free domain when you buy a hosting of up to 2 years or more. You also get free cPanel accounts, free and auto SSL certificate, free website migrations, free enhanced WordPress security, that is if you are going to be using WordPress to creating your website, free premium SSL certificate for those who will be making e-commerce websites, and finally free live speed. The fourth package is the Business Cloud, which is ideal for e-commerce websites, with a starting price of $11.08 per month, where you get the same features as the Table Cloud, but this time around you get 4 GB of RAM, as well as free email filtering. So choosing any of these packages will depend upon the kind of website you want to create. If you are just starting out or you just want to test Namehero, you can start with the Starter Cloud. For this tutorial, I'm going to choose the Plus Cloud because I want to be able to host more than one website. So I click on Order Now under the Plus Cloud. From here, you can choose to register a new domain or use a domain you already own. So if you have a domain name which you have bought from a different registrar, you can enter the domain right here and get your hosting from Namehero. For this tutorial, I'm going to register my domain with Namehero. So I click on Search Domain, then I go ahead and enter in my domain. It should be noted that if the domain name you want to use is already registered, you cannot also register it. You just have to choose a different domain name. Next thing you want to do is drop down the arrow right here and choose the particular domain extension you want to use. Choosing any of these domain extensions will depend upon the kind of website you want to create. For instance, if you want to create a website for a non-profit organization, I would advise you go in for .org. But if you want to create a business website, like an e-commerce website, I would advise you to go in for .com, especially if you want to go international. Then you go ahead and click on Search. Congratulations, Dikupages site is available. Next, you go ahead and click on Continue. Next thing you need to do is choose a billing cycle, and right here you will see that you'll be presented with 3 different packages, and you see that you can buy a 1 year of web hosting, 2 years, or 3 years. If you are going in for a 1 year hosting, the price is $5.53 per month. For 2 years web hosting, you get 6% discount, where the price will reduce to $5.16 per month. If you are going in for 3 years, you get a 13% discount, where the price is $4.79 per month. For this tutorial, I'm going to choose 1 year. Going down, you can choose a backup plan if you want, and each package you choose will come with its price. For this tutorial, I'm not going to go in for backup plan. If you also want to add a malware scanner, you can go ahead and select this checkbox, which is going to cost you additional $5. I don't want to go in for this. Going down, you will get two options for SSL certificates, of which the first one is free and the second one will cost you $99.95. I'll go with the free one, then I go ahead and click on continue. In here, there are other features you may want to add to your web hosting package, that is DNS management, ID protection, and email forwarding. DNS hosting can help improve the speed of your website. ID protection will protect your personal information and reduce the amount of spam in your inbox. With email forwarding, you can get all your emails forwarded to an alternate email addresses so that you can monitor all of them on a single account. So choosing any of these services will depend upon your website's requirements. For now, I'll just go ahead and click on continue. And right here, you see the hosting package you've selected and its price, followed by your domain name, which is $15.98 per year. The total amount for everything will be $195.38 per year. But because of a 63% discount, you'll be saving $113.02. So now the total amount is $82.36 per year. Going down to billing details, if you are an existing customer, you can go ahead and click right here and then you enter your email and password in order to log in. If you are a new customer, then you have to go ahead and click on create a new account. Then from here, you enter your personal details, that is first name, last name, email address, and also go ahead and enter in your phone number. Next is billing address, where you enter your company name, which is optional, street address, city, state, postcode, and country. Next is additional information, where they ask you how did you hear about us, so you can go ahead and choose accordingly. Then you also go ahead and choose a support PIN. This is a 4-digit number which you will choose in order to identify you when you are contacting NameHero for support. Next, you enter in your password and also go ahead and confirm it. Going down, you go ahead and enter in your payment details, that is your credit or debit card number, the expiry date, and then the CVV number. When that is done, you agree to the terms of service, then you go ahead and click on checkout. So I'll enter all these details right here, click on checkout, and meet you on the next page. When the order is complete, it will bring you to your dashboard. On the left hand panel, the first thing you see is home, which will bring you to the dashboard when you click on it. Next is my cloud, where you have access to the hosting package you've just bought. At the moment, you see that under my services, I have 2 packages, which means I've bought 2 different web hosting packages. Next is domains, where you have access to the domains you've bought on NameHero so far. Next is billing, and finally support. If you have any issues with your hosting, this is where you come in order to open a ticket. And from here, NameHero will help you with whatever queries you may have with regards to your web hosting. So that's it on how to get a domain name and web hosting on NameHero. Now let's install WordPress on our web hosting. To install WordPress upon logging into your NameHero dashboard, next thing you want to do is come over to My Cloud. Then you go ahead and click on My Services. In here, you see all the web hosting services you've bought with NameHero. All what you need to do is go ahead and choose the particular one you want to install WordPress on. For this tutorial, I'm going to choose Web Hosting Starter Cloud. Right here under Actions, you go ahead and click on Login to cPanel, which will open in a new tab. And now we are inside our NameHero control panel. Scrolling down to Software section, you go ahead and click on SoftwareClose App Installer. With SoftwareClose App Installer, you are just a few clicks away from installing WordPress. Right here, you see WordPress and some other content management systems. If you cannot see WordPress here, you can go ahead and click on Blocks at the sidebar. Then you go ahead and click on WordPress. And it will take you to an interface where you click on Install. Since we can see WordPress right here, you can just go ahead and click on Install. Under Choose Installation URL, you need to make sure that HTTPS is selected. The next field is where you see your domain name, which you have just bought from Asura Hosting. and I'm not going to be using this. So I go ahead and drop down the arrow and I choose this domain. That is what I'm going to use for this demonstration. Next, in directory, you see that we have WP. You don't want to put anything in here. Otherwise, your website will be installed in a different folder other than your main domain name. So make sure in directory the field is empty. Going down, we have site settings where you can choose the name for your website and also enter the description for your website. I'll be showing you how you can also set the name of your website after you have installed WordPress. So you have two options. You can either change the name here or change it after you have installed WordPress. Next, we have admin account where we choose a username, password, and also enter our email address. And remember, these are the details you always use in order to log into your WordPress website in order to edit it. So I'll just go ahead and enter my details. The first one is admin name. I'll enter my name. Always make sure to enter a custom name instead of using admin as your username. Next is password. I will hide it for obvious reasons. And finally, we have email address. So mine is agency@dikupagesweb.com. Going down to the bottom, I click on install. And WordPress will install in some few seconds. Alright, congratulations, the software was installed successfully. From here, you can choose to click on your domain name, which will take you to the front end of your website. You can also choose to click on the administrative URL, which will take you to the back end of your website. I prefer clicking on the domain name directly, which will take me to the front end, so that I use it to show you how you can log in into your WordPress website. So I go ahead and click on the main domain name, which will open in a new tab. And now we have our new website. Awesome. So that's it on how you can install WordPress. Next, let me show you how you can log into your WordPress website. To log into your WordPress website, what you need to do is click at the end of your domain name or your URL. Then you bring /wp-admin. Hit enter. And this will take you to the login page. Here you enter your username and password. Remember, these are the details you specified when you were installing WordPress. Then I click on login and it will take me to the back end of my website. Now, if I right click on the name of my website, that is right here, and open link in a new tab, this is the front end of my website. This is what users will see when they enter the address of my website into their web browsers. And right here is the back end. This is where you always come in order to start customizing your website. So that's it on how you can install WordPress and also log in into your website. Now that we have logged in into our WordPress website, next let's go ahead and do some cleaning up and also set up our website. As you can see on my dashboard, I have a whole lot of widgets which I don't need. So I can go over to screen options. Then I go ahead and uncheck all these. Alright. Next, I go over to post. By default, WordPress will give you a hello world post the moment you have finished installing it, which we don't need. So I click on trash. Then I can go over to the trash. Then I go ahead and empty the trash. Next, I go over to pages. And we have these two pages which we don't need. I select all, bulk actions. Then I move it to trash. Apply. I can also go to the trash, then I empty the trash. Next, I go over to appearance. Appearance is where you can choose a theme for your website. Take note, a theme is basically the design and layout of your website. At the moment, this is the current theme we are using. If I go over to the name of my website right here, right click, open link in a new tab, you see that this is the current look and feel of my website. Now if I go back, I can decide to switch to any of these themes. So if I hover on this one and I click on activate, you see that it's now the active theme. If I go over to the front end and refresh, you will now see that the look and feel of my website has been changed. Going back, at the moment we are not using these two themes, so we can take them off. So I click on theme details, delete, OK, theme details, delete, OK. Unfortunately, we cannot delete this theme simply because we need an existing theme to work with. But you can finally go ahead and delete it after you have installed the particular theme you want to use on your website. Next, let's go over to plugins. We have these two plugins which are not activated and we don't really need them. So I select all, bulk actions, delete, apply, OK, and they are gone. So basically this is the cleanup we are going to do. Next, let's go ahead and do some setup. To do that, we head over to settings, then we click on general. If you can remember, when we're installing WordPress, I mentioned that you can change the name of your website as well as the site description. This is where you can do that. At the moment, the name of my website is set to my blog and the tagline is set to my WordPress blog. So we can go ahead and change it from here. So the site title, I'm just going to call it classified. Maybe I can change it later on. And the tagline, online marketplace for general goods. The next important thing you want to do here is enable anyone can register. Since we want people to list their product, they should be able to register on our website before they can do that. So I enable anyone can register. Going down, I click on save changes. And now you see that the name of my website has been changed. Next, I go over to permalinks. At the moment, the permalink structure is set to date and name, and we want to set it to post name so that we get clean URLs. I click on post name, and I go ahead and scroll down, click on save changes. Awesome. And now we are done with the cleanup and setting up of our website. The next thing we are going to do is install a theme on our website. At the moment, this is the look and feel of our website, which is very boring. So we are going to install a theme that will convert everything into a classified website. So to install this theme, we are going to download it. To do that, we open a new tab, then we enter dikupages.com/Classima. Hit enter, and it will take us to Theme Forest. And this is the theme we are going to use, that is Classima classified as WordPress theme. And the price for this theme is only $49. Take note, you only need to pay this amount once and you will get all future updates. You can also contact the developer for 6 months for support. So all you need to do is go ahead and add it to the cart. Then you click on go to checkout. From here, you can go ahead and choose your payment method, that is PayPal or Skrill. I already bought the theme, so I'll just go ahead and download it. So I can just go to the home page. Then I go ahead and hover on my username right here. Take note, you only see this when you are logged in onto themeforest.net. From this list, I click on downloads. And from here, you see all the themes you have bought from Theme Forest. And this is the very one we are going to download, that is Classima, classified as WordPress theme. I click on download. From here, you can decide to download all files and documentations, or you can download only installable WordPress file only. And that is what I'm going to do. So I click on installable WordPress file only. And it is downloading right here. Since that download is going on, I'll go back and download the license certificate and purchase code. So I click on this. You can either download the PDF or the text one. That one is also downloaded. I have them right here. Awesome. I'll go ahead and open the folder. Alright, I have my downloads right here. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and install the theme. So I go to the back end of my website. Then I go over to Appearance, click on Themes. From here, I click on Add New. I go ahead and click on Upload Theme. Next, I click on Browse. I have the theme here. I just click on it. Then I go ahead and click on Open. Then I click on Install. In the meantime, I can exit from here and here as well. So you just have to give it a moment for it to install. Alright, now it is unpacking the package and it is installed successfully. So the theme is installed, but it is not activated yet. So all I need to do is go ahead and click on Activate. And now my new theme is activated. So from here, we can now go ahead and delete this theme since we don't need it anymore. So I click on Theme Details, delete, OK, and it's gone. After installing the theme, on top right here, you see these two notices. The first one is the activation notice, and the second notice is asking us to install some plugins. First, let's go ahead and do the activation. So I go ahead and click on Activate License. Remember, I've already downloaded my license code, so I go back to my download folder. I have it right here. I'll just open it up. Scrolling down to Item Purchase Code, this is where you get your license code. So I'll just go ahead and copy it. Then I go back to the back end of my website. I just go ahead and paste it in here. Then I click on Activate License. It is activated. Now I can go back to Themes, and you see that that notice is gone. So next, let's go ahead and install the recommended plugins. To do that, I click on Begin Installing Plugins, and it is recommended that we install all these plugins. So I click on All, then I go over to Bulk Actions, Install, Apply, and you need to give it a moment to be installed. Alright, all the plugins are installed. I click on Return to Required Plugins. Then I go ahead and activate all the plugins. So I select all, Bulk Actions, Activate, Apply. And now all the plugins are installed and activated. Now, if I go to the front end of my website and I click on the name, open link in a new tab, this is how the look and feel of my website is. Even though we have installed the theme, but our website still looks boring. So what we are going to do next is go ahead and import a demo content, then we build from there. So I go to the back end, then I go over to Tools. If you go over to Tools, there should be an option to import a demo content, but here it is not there. However, if I go to any other location, maybe Dashboard, then I come back to Tools, you see that I now have demo content installed right here. So I go ahead and click on it. And these are the available demo content you can go ahead and import. So they are only showing us the various home pages design they have. And they have from 1 up to 10. So all you need to do is look through and choose the particular one that will fit your requirements. You can always switch to whichever home page you want after you have imported your demo content. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and use the home one. So I click on Install, and they are only giving us some warning here. Installing this demo will delete all existing data and content of your website. So use it only in a fresh website. Do you want to continue? I click on OK to continue. And now it is installing the demo content. So you just have to give it a moment to be imported. I'll get back to you when the importation is done. Alright, the demo content has been imported successfully. Now if I go over to the name of my website, right click, open link in a new tab, I click on it, and this is how our website will look like. And take note, at the moment we are using the home page 1, that is this very page. And remember, I said you can use any of these home pages you want. It doesn't really matter which one you have imported. If I go to the front end and hover on home, you see that I have all the home pages. For instance, if I go over to home page 5, you see that I have everything right here. Awesome. So assuming I want to use any of these home pages, what I need to do is go over to the back end of my website. Then I go over to Settings, then click on Reading. Under your home page displays, you see that a static page is selected and we have home 1 under home page. Now if I drop down the arrow, then I choose, for instance, home 7. I scroll down, click on save changes. Now if I go to the front end, then I go to the home page by clicking on the logo, it will take me to home page 7. So that is how you can easily switch your home pages. For this tutorial, I'm going to go with the home page 1, so I'll go back and change it. From here, I select it, going down, I click on save changes. Now if I go to the front end and refresh again, it will take me to the home page 1. Awesome. Let's quickly run through the home page and see some of the features we have there. So if you land on the home page, first of all, you have the header. That is where we have the logo and then the menus. Next is the hero section where we have some text and then search bar. With the search bar, users can use it to narrow down their search by location. For instance, if I choose Kansas, I can also go ahead and choose a particular location in Kansas. Then it will take me to listings in that particular area. At the moment, I don't have any results. Let's go back to the home page. Users can also search by category. Maybe I want to go to properties. Then I select apartments and flats. It will take me to that categories page. Going back, users can also search by keywords. So if I click in here and I type A, it will show all listings that has the letter A in them. Maybe I want to search for camera and it will give me a perfect match. Perfect. Going down, we have some popular categories. Here it is not showing all the categories, but you can choose any number of categories you want to be displayed. Next, we have features as section. Going down, we have top locations, some numbers. Next is pricing and packages section. Next is blog section, and finally we have the footer section. Awesome. So that is how you can easily import the Classima demo content.
If you are finding value so far, please give this video a thumbs up. It does help me out so that the video will be suggested to more people on YouTube and also benefit more people. Alright, let's continue.
The next thing we want to look at is branding. And this is where we want to choose the colors of our website and also add a logo to our website. And there are two ways we can do this. You can either go to the theme customizer or you can go to theme options. I am going to go ahead and go by the theme customizer. So I click on customize. The first thing we are going to look at here is change the logo. So I go over to general, and this is where you can change your logos. If you don't want to use the theme customizer, you can go to the back end of your website. Then you go over to appearance, click on theme options. From here under general settings, you see that we have the logos right here. This is where you can change them. Maybe if you want to change colors, this is where you do that. Under colors, you see that. So if I go to the theme customizer, then I go back, you see that right here we have colors as well. So you can either change it from here or change it from here. For this tutorial, I'll use the theme customizer. So starting from general, let's go ahead and change our logos. Take note, we have a dark logo and a light logo. Now if I go to the front end of my website, this is the light logo. That is what you will see on your header when you have not done any scrolling. Now if I scroll down a bit, you now see the dark logo. So to change them, I go back to the theme customizer. I take this off. Then I click on upload. I go over to upload files, select files. I have my dark logo here. I select it, click on open. It is uploaded. I click on select and I have it right here. Next is the dark logo. I take it off. Then I click on upload. Then I go over to upload files, select files. I have it right here. It is uploaded. I click on select. Now if you don't see it here, don't worry, it will show in a moment. Let's also go ahead and add a fave icon. That is the shortcut icon that you usually see on the tabs of your browsers when you open some websites. So we go back, Then we scroll to site identity. In here, you see that it's using the Classima logo. First of all, I remove it. Then I click on select site icon. It should be noted that the recommended dimension for your shortcut icon should be 512 by 512 pixels. I go to upload files, select files. I have my icon right here, select it, then I click on open. It is uploaded, I click on select. I'll go ahead and skip the cropping and I have it right here. Awesome. Now you see that my logo has appeared. Now that we have our logos in place, next let's go ahead and choose our colors. So I click on back. Right here I have colors. Under side white colors, this is where we change the primary and secondary colors to our website. The color you see on this button as well as the search button is the primary color. If I hover on the button, you see that the color is different, and that is the secondary color. If I hover on the search button, you see the same color, that is the secondary color. So this is where we are going to change them. I have the color I want to use, that is this color code right here, which is 2C90E6. So I'll just go ahead and copy it. I minimize this. I click on select color, and this is where I enter it. So I'll just take this one off, then I'll go ahead and paste this one in there. And you see that the color has changed. Meanwhile, the secondary color has not changed. So let's do the same thing. I click on select color, then I enter it in here. Now if I hover on the button, you see that you don't see any difference. So what we need to do is make the secondary color a little bit darker. So I click on select color, then I go ahead and take it up a bit like this. Now if I hover, you see that there's some kind of variation. Awesome. Maybe I can increase it a bit. Perfect. Scrolling down, you see that the rest of the colors here have changed. Can you see that? So instead of the previous red color, all the bright colors has been changed to our blue color. Perfect. So everything is set. I go ahead and click on publish to save my changes. Now if I go to the front end of my website and refresh, you will now see the new look and feel of my website. And I have my logo right here. That is the dark logo. If I scroll to the top, I have my light logo right here, which is cool. So that is how you can choose a branding for your website. The next thing we want to look at is create a menu for our website. You see that we have a menu, but it's looking cumbersome. We don't want all these drop downs. They are not really important for our website. So let's go ahead and create a clean menu for our website. To do that, I go back to the theme customizer. Then I click on back. Scrolling down, I click on menus. Take note, already we have the menu right here, which is main menu. If I click on it, you see all the pages we have right here. You see that we have home, which is here, and under home we have all these home pages, and that is the same thing we have right here. So if I don't need any of these pages, what I do is, for instance, home page 3, I just drop down the arrow, then I go ahead and remove it from here. Now if I hover on the home menu, you see that home page 3 is gone. So similarly, you do the same thing to the rest of the pages. But if you don't want to waste time removing everything one after the other, you can scroll to the bottom, then you go ahead and delete the menu. And you see that our menu is gone. So now let's go ahead and recreate the menu. So I click on create new menu. I'll give it the same name, main menu. Then I'll assign it to primary. I click on next. Now our menu is created. Meanwhile, we don't have any menu items. So I click on add items. Remember, we are using home page 1. So I select it. The next page I want to add is the listing page. So I search for all ads. Right here, I select it and it's added. Scrolling up, I want to add blog page, stores. Going down, I'll add about page, and finally I'll add contact page right here. Next, I go ahead and arrange them. So home page will be on top. Meanwhile, I don't need home 1. So what I do is just click on it. Then I go ahead and take off the 1. Perfect. I'll bring about us under all us like this. Then stores will follow about us, blog, and then contact. All is set. I click on publish. Now if I go to the front end, this is the previous menu we're having. Now if I refresh the page, you now see the new menu, and this looks clean. Now if I scroll to the bottom part of my website to the footer section, you see that I still have the Classima logo here, some dummy content, as well as some menus which are not really linked to any pages on our website. So let's see how we can customize the footer section of our website. To do that, we go to the theme customizer, scrolling down. First of all, let's change the logo from here. So I go back, then I go ahead and click on widgets. You see that we have footer 1, footer 2, footer 3, footer 4, and that is the same thing we have here, 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So I go to footer 1, click on got it. I have the logo right here. I just select it up. I go ahead and click on choose image. I'm going to use the light logo. I select it, click on select, and it's right here. Next, you don't want this dummy content, so this is where you want to change it from. So all what you need to do is just select it up, then you go ahead and take it off. Take note, whatever text you want to enter here should be something short. You don't want to make it overcrowded. I'll leave this dummy content for now. Scrolling down, we have social links. So if you have some social links like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, this is where you go ahead and enter them. Let me just demonstrate by entering Facebook. So I'll enter https://facebook.com/, then I bring the name of my page, maybe Dikupages. So similarly, I enter the links to the rest of the social media accounts. Now that we are done with the footer 1, let's customize the menus. I'll use the second menu as an example. So I go ahead and click on the pencil icon on it. Then it will take me to that menu. Let's assume I don't need sitemap. So I drop down the arrow. Scrolling down, I click on remove. And it's gone. Maybe I don't need company and contact info link. So I take it off. And I want to add the about page, so I click on add items. Scrolling down, I have about us here. I select it and it's right here. I can rearrange it by taking it to the top like this. It's not going to be indented. I move it this way. The rest of the links we have there, they don't really point to any page. Now if I go to the front end and I try to click on terms of service, you see that it's taking me to the top of the page. So let's see how we can add the actual link to the menu. For instance, the blog and articles. If I scroll to the top, I have the blog page right here. I'll just click on it. Then I copy the link. Going back to the theme customizer, I drop down the arrow under blog and articles. And this is where I paste the link. And then the label, instead of blog and articles, I'll just make it blog. Now if I publish, then I go to the front end. Going down, you see that I still have the old menu. If I refresh, you will now see the new menu. That is blog, about, terms of service, and then privacy policy. So if I click on about us, it will take me to the about us page. Awesome. So similarly, you can go ahead and do the same thing to the rest of the menus. And you see that I've worked on the blog link as well as the about link. And the reason is that we already have those two pages on our website. Let's assume we want to add a particular menu which is not already existing on our website. How do we do that? So this brings us to creating pages on our website. And I'll go ahead and create the terms of service page. To do that, I go to the back end of my website. Then I hover on pages, click on add new. I exit out of here. The title, I'll enter terms of service. and this is where I enter the content of my terms of service. I'll leave this empty for now. I'll go ahead and click on publish, publish again. The page is published. Now if I click on view page, from here I can copy the link to the page. So I'll just go ahead and right click, copy link. Then I go over to the theme customizer. I minimize this. I drop down the arrow under terms of service. Then I go ahead and paste it in here. I publish. Now if I go to the front end and refresh, I can now click on terms of service and it will take me to the page. Perfect. Finally, let's go ahead and customize the copyright section. To do that, I go back to the theme customizer. I go back, then I click on footer. Here it should be noted that there are two footer styles. You can either use style 1 or style 2. At the moment we are using style 1 and I'll leave it as it is. Going down, this is where we change our copyright text. So what I do is, first of all, I work on the name, that is Classima 2022. So instead of Classima, the name of my website is Classified. I'll enter the current year, which is 2023. Next is designed and developed by. Maybe I will just want to enter designed by. Next we have this tag, that is the target tag. What this means is that when users of our website click on this link right here, it will open in a new tab. So I don't do anything here. The only thing I change here is this link. So instead of https www.radiosteam.com, I'll go ahead and enter my own URL. So I leave the https:// then I enter Dikupages.com. And finally, in between the link tag is the name of the developer, that is Radio's Team. So instead of Radio's Team, I go ahead and enter my own name. Finally, we have display payment icons. That is what we have right here. At the moment it is enabled. If you don't want to display it, you just go ahead and click on disabled. I'll leave it as it is, then I go ahead and publish. Going to the front end, I refresh, and you will now see our new copyright text. Having the copyright symbol, that is the C here, and the copyright text itself is a repetition, so I can take off copyright from here. So I go back to the theme customizer. I have it here. I'll just select it, then I go ahead and take it off. I click on publish. Going back, if I refresh, you see that it's now looking clean. Awesome. So that's it on how we can customize the footer section of our website. The next thing I want to do is design the pages of my website, and I'll start with the home page. So to do that, I click on the home page. I can exit out of here and here for now. It should be noted that the Classima team is using the Elementor page builder. So to edit the page, we click on edit with Elementor. So first of all, if I want to change this text, that is this text right here, buy, sell, rent, and exchange in one click, all what I need to do is click on it, and it will enable the edit section title pane. Under general, we have titles, and that is where we have item number 1. I click on it, and we have the text right here. So if I don't want buy, sell, rent, and exchange in one click, maybe I don't want in one click, I'll take everything off. Then I say all in one location or one place. Let me say one place. So if I update, then I go ahead and refresh the page. You will now see buy, sell, rent, and exchange all in one place. Awesome. If I also want to change this, I go back, and this is where I can change that. Instead of 2000 plus active hours, maybe I'll say 1000 plus active hours. In 29 plus categories for free. So instead of 29, I will say 15. I click on update. Going back, I refresh, and you now see that I have 1000 plus and then 15 plus. Perfect. Now let's see how we can change the background image. So I go back. To change the background image, I click on the 6 dots right here. Then it will take me to edit section. And the background, this is the image. I just go ahead and click on it. Then I go over to upload files, select files, and this is the image I want to use. I select it, then I click on open. It is uploaded. I click on select, and I have it right here. Now if I update, then I go to the front end and refresh. You see my new background image. I scroll down to popular categories. To customize it, I click on the pencil icon. Under general, the first thing we have is style. I drop down the arrow. At the moment, we are using style 3. Let's see style 1. This is how style 1 looks like. Let's see style 2. Awesome. We have already seen style 3. And then style 4. Perfect. Maybe I want to use style 1. I think I like style 1, so I leave it. Next is categories. This is where you want to select the particular categories you want to be displayed here. In here, I have others. Let's assume I don't need others. So I'll just go ahead and click on the X right here to take others off. And you see that I now have 7 categories. If you look at those various categories, we don't have cars and vehicles. So I'll just go ahead and select it from here. And it's now showing right here. And now we have 8 categories. So that is how you can take some categories off and also add the particular ones you want. Next, we have order by. At the moment, it is being ordered by title. You can also order by count, so that the categories will be arranged based on the number of hours you have. And you see that it is being sorted in ascending order. That is why you see the highest to be at the end. Now if I scroll down and choose descending, you will now see that property is on top, which is having the higher number of hours. I'll leave the order by count and then the sort by descending, so that I'll have dynamic categories. That is having the category with the highest hours on top. Next, we have hide empty. If I toggle it on, the categories without listings will go off. I'll put it off for now. Next, we have icon type. At the moment, we are using icon. If I drop down the arrow, I can choose image, which is also cool. And I think I like the image. Next is listing counts. At the moment, we are seeing counts on our listings. For instance, property is having 12, hobby, sport, and case is having 4. If I toggle it off, you see that the count is gone. I'll enable it. Next, we have number of subcategories. At the moment, it is set to 3. I can increase it to say 5. You see that. And I can also reduce it to maybe 2. You see that. I'll leave it as 3. Awesome. The next tab we have is number of responsive columns. I click on it, and we have desktop with wide screen and then small screen, and they are all set to 4 columns. So if I drop down the arrow here and choose maybe 6, this is how it will look like, but this one looks clumsy. Maybe I choose 3. 3 is also cool. I'll leave it as 4, the default. And then tablet is set to 3 columns, phone is set to 2 columns, and then small phones is set to 1 column. All right, I update. Let's take a look. Refresh. Going down, and this is how it will look like in real time. Perfect. Going back, I scroll down to featured ads. To edit this, I click on the pencil icon, and this is similar to the categories. Under general, we have style 1. You can use style 2. You see how style 2 looks like. Style 3, Style 6. You can go ahead and explore the rest. I'll just stick to style 1. Next is items to show. At the moment it is showing featured listings. I can drop down the arrow and I choose, let's say, all, so that it will display all listings, which is basically the latest listings. I can also drop down the arrow. Maybe I want to use popular, and these are the popular listings. Going back, maybe top listings, you see that. I'll just stick to the featured listings. I'll show you how you can add all these kinds of listings later on in this tutorial. Next is categories. At the moment it is showing all categories. You can decide that you want to display only properties. So I search for properties, I select it, and it will display only properties that are featured listings. For this demonstration, I'll just leave it as all. Perfect. Next is category name display. At the moment it is turned off. If I turn it on, you see that the categories are being displayed under each listing. We also have custom fields. This one I wouldn't advise you to enable it. You see that it is giving us a bunch of items right here. We don't really need that, so I toggle it off. Maybe the categories name display, we don't need that as well, so I take it off. Next is show date, and that is what we have here: 3 years ago, 4 years ago. If you don't need it, you just go ahead and toggle it off. You can also display location if you need it, like this. I toggle it off, then I toggle on show date. Next is number of items. At the moment it is showing 8, like this. Let's say I want 12, so I now have 3 rows instead of 2. I'll just leave it as the default, which is 8. Next we have change items on every page load. If this is on, anytime your page is being loaded, a new set of items will be displayed. So this is kind of a random display, and I think this is cool since I want to be showing featured listings right here. Next we have the number of responsive columns tab, and this is the same as the categories we saw on top right here. So we don't do any other thing. I just go ahead and click on update. Going down we have top locations. Now if I want to edit any of these locations, I just go ahead and click on it. And the location, I drop down the arrow. Maybe I want to choose Claremont, and you see it right here. If I hover on it, you see that I have the listing count, which is 1 at the moment. Bloomfield is also 1. California is 7. And this is where you can enable it. At the moment, show listing count is turned on. If I turn it off and I hover, you see that the listing count is gone. Upon hovering on it, the entire column has been changed to a link, and this is because enable link is turned on. If I turn it off, then I hover, it's no more a link. And I think making it a link is cool, so that users can easily use it to go to the particular location. I also want to enable show listing counts. Next, let's change the background image. So I click on background. I have the image here. I just click on choose image, upload files, select files, and this is the image I want to use. I select it, click on open. It is uploaded. I click on select, and I have the new image right here. Awesome. Going down, next we have counter section. This is where we show some numbers to our site visitors. So if I want to change this, I'll just go ahead and click on the pencil icon on it. At the moment it is set to 5,000. Let's say we don't have up to 5,000, we rather have 2,500. So I take this off and I enter 2,500. The counter suffix, that is this plus right here. If you have more than 2,500, I think the plus will be helpful. The title, that is published ads, this is where you can change it. The animated speed is set to 1000. I leave it as it is. And then animation steps is set to 10. I'll leave them as they are. The icon here is set to image, that is icon type. I can drop down the arrow and I choose icon. And this is where I can change the icon. Maybe I want to use headphone like this. So similarly, I do the same thing to registered users and then verified users. Next is the background image. I hope you can see it. Let's see how we can change that. To do that, I click on the 6 dots right here. Then I go over to style. This is the image. I select it, upload files, select files, and this is the image I want to use. I select it, then I click on open. It is uploaded. I click on select, and I have it right here. Awesome. Next is pricing and packages section. Since we have not talked about pricing yet, let's leave this as it is and we'll come back to it later on. Going down, the last thing we have here is latest blog post. We've not also talked about adding blog posts to our website. However, if you want to customize it, you just go ahead and click on the pencil icon. And here we have styles. At the moment, it is using style 2. Let's see style 1, style 3. I think they are all nice. I'll just stick to style 2. You can choose the categories you want to be displayed. I leave it as all categories. I'll show you how you can create categories later on when we create blog posts on our website. Next is ordered by. We have date as well as title. At the moment it is set to date and the most recent ones comes first. I leave it as it is. You can choose to display the author or not from here. See that the author is gone. I enable it. Finally, we have button display. If I enable it, you see that we have view all. So this will take you to the blog page. And I think it is cool. So I leave it. And I go ahead and update my changes. So that's it on how you can customize or design your home page. I can exit out of here. Next, let's take a look at the About Us page. So I click on it. To edit the About page, all what you need to do is click on Edit with Elementor. And this is where you can change the content of your About page. So for instance, if I want to change this text, all what I need to do is click on the pencil icon. And this is where I can change the content from. So I just make sure everything here is selected. I take it off and enter my own text. I'll leave this dummy content for now. If you want to change this image, you just go ahead and click on it and you can change it from here. Maybe I want to use this image. I select it, then I click on select. Awesome. Going down, similarly, if you want to change any of this text, you just go ahead and click on the pencil icon, and this one is using info box. Where we have icon, the title, that is create account, we have it right here, and then the content. So if you want to change any of this, this is where you do the changes. We also have the numbers section. We have already seen this on the home page. Going down, this is where you want to add some testimonials from your customers. So for instance, if I want to change this one, I'll just make sure it is selected and I change the name from here. Dana Abu, designation, I say Director, Dikupages. And then the content, I change it from here. If I want to change the image, I just select it from here and I can choose any of these images. Select. Awesome. Similarly, you can do the same thing to the rest of the testimonials. Going down is the brand section. This is where you can add the logos to some of the businesses you have worked with. So if you want to change this, you just go ahead and click on the pencil icon and it is using the image carousel widget. From here, you click on this pencil icon. These are the already existing ones. If you want to add more, you click on add to gallery. Maybe I want to add this particular image. I select it, then I click on add to gallery. I can rearrange it like this, then I click on insert gallery and I have the image right here. Perfect. Let's assume we don't need this particular section. All what we need to do is go ahead and click on the X icon right here in order to take it off. All is set, then I go ahead and update. I can preview the changes. Perfect. It should be noted that we cannot change this banner using Elementor. This is being controlled by the theme itself. So we can only change this using the theme customizer. And I'll show you how to do that later on in this tutorial. The last page we want to customize is the contact page. I click on Edit with Elementor. I have Google Maps right here, and it is using the Google Maps widget from the Classima theme. If I click on the pencil icon right here to edit it, and this is where you want to enter the shortcode to your Google Maps. If you don't want to waste time getting this from Google Maps, what we can do is use the Google Maps widget from Elementor itself. So I go over to Elements, then I search for Maps. I have Google Maps right here. I just drag it and drop. At the moment, it is set to somewhere London, United Kingdom. I take it off and I enter Chanley, Tamale, and it's now pointing to my current location. I can take this one off. I just right click on it, then I click on delete. Awesome. Going down, you can also go ahead and customize the address. So I click on the pencil icon. I remove the address from here and enter my own address. Next is phone number. Maybe I don't have fax. I take it off. And finally, email. Next, we have the contact form, which is using the contact form plugin. That is contact form 7. So we don't do anything here. I click on update to save my changes. Let's take a look. Perfect. So these are the editing we want to do on the various pages. It should be noted that the listings page and the blog page are being controlled by the theme customizer. And I'll be showing you how you can customize them later on in this tutorial. I can exit from here and here for now. Now let's do some categorizations on our website. By categorizations, we decide what users should select when they are trying to create their listings. Already we have some categories on our website. For instance, these are the various categories we already have on the website. So when users are trying to create their listings, they can choose from any of these categories. Apart from these categories we have right here, we have other categorizations we can do, like location, the type of the listings, and then some custom fields. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. If I exit out of here, then I go to the back end of my website. Under classified listings, we have a whole lot of features. The first one we have on top is all listings. This will take you to all the listings you have on your website. Next is add new. From here, you can create a new listing on your website as an administrator. Next, we have categories. So these are the particular categories I just showed you on the front end. We also have locations, so users can also add their listings based on locations. We also have listing types. This is where users can select the type of listing they are creating, whether it's for sale, for buying, for rent, or for exchange. Let me start by adding a listing type. So I click on listing types. At the moment, these are the various listing types we have on the website. If you want to edit a particular one, you can just go ahead and click on the edit button beside the one you want to edit. Then you change the ID as well as the name. I don't want to edit any of these. As a matter of fact, I need all these listing types on my website, so I'll leave them as they are. And I'll just go ahead and show you how you can add a listing type. So under add new type, I click in here. Maybe I want to add butter, which is the same as exchange. I'm just using another word for exchange. I click on add new type and it is added right here. So you see that the ID is butter with small letters, and then the name itself that will appear on the front end is with the capital B at the beginning. Now if I go to the front end of my website, then I go over to all as. This is where we have the types. If I click on show more, you see that I have Bata as part of the list now. So going back, we can now go ahead and add a new category. So I click on categories, and these are all the various categories we already have on our website, as well as the subcategories. So the category name, maybe I want to say building materials, is going to be a main category, so I don't do anything under parent category. You can add in a description if you want. I'll leave it as it is for now. Going down, in here you decide the type of listing is going to be. By default, sell is selected. I'll select Bata as well. That is the new one we just created, and maybe I'll include buy. So what this means is that if users try to add their listings, they can either select sell, buy, or Bata. Next is price units. This is where you choose a unit of pricing for your category. Now, the type of category you are creating, do users need to pay for it yearly, monthly, weekly, daily, or even hourly? So you go ahead and choose the one that is applicable to the category you are creating. It should be noted that the pricing units is set automatically for you. You don't need to create them. Next, we have image. This is where you select an image that is related to the category you are creating. If I go to the front end, scrolling down, you see that all the categories, they have related images. So I go back, I click on add image. I'll just go ahead and choose the existing ones. Since I'm talking about building materials, maybe I'll select this, then I click on insert into post. I can also select an icon if I don't want to display the images. So I drop down the arrow, I search for building, like this. Then I click on add new category, and it's added right here. Awesome. Maybe under building materials, I want to add some subcategories. So under the name, I enter building. Maybe I use building tools. Under parent category, I drop down the arrow and I select building materials since I want it to be under the main category, building materials. Going down, now under the types, from here you don't really need to select anything. The moment you choose building materials as the main category, any other category under it will have the sell, buy, and Bata listing types. However, in a situation where you want to override the original listing types, you can go ahead and select the one that is applicable to you. To show you in real time, I'm just going to go ahead and deselect everything so that when we get to adding listings, you see that even though we have not selected anything, but the subcategory building tools will actually have these listing types. So going down, we click on add new category, and you will see that building tools is now a subcategory under building materials. So this is how you can add categories as well as subcategories onto your website. Next, let's go over to locations. Before I show you how you can add locations, it should be noted that there are two ways you can have locations on your website. You can either decide to add all the locations you'll be having on your website manually, or you can have them automatically on your website. That is if you enable geolocations. And I'll show you where we can get geolocations later on in this tutorial. For now, let's add our locations manually. At the moment, these are the various locations we already have. I'll just leave them as they are, then I'll go ahead and show you how you can add fresh locations. So I'll add the locations based on where I am coming from. And in Ghana, we have our locations to be in regions, and under each region we have cities, towns, and villages. So the first region I'll enter is Northern. Going down, I click on add new location, and it's added right here. I'll add another location, which is Greater Accra. Going down, add new location. Now I'm going to add some cities under these two regions. So I enter Tamale, and Tamale is under Northern. So I choose Northern. Then I go ahead and click on add new location, and you see that Tamale is now under Northern. I'll add another one under Northern. Yendi. So parent location Northern is already selected. I click on add new location, and it's also right there. Let me add some locations for Greater Accra. So the main one I have here is Accra. and the parent location is going to be Greater Accra. Then I click on add new location and I have it right here. Awesome. Now if I go to the front end and click on select location, you see that I now have Greater Accra and then Northern. If I click on Greater Accra, it will show me all the cities under Greater Accra. Going back, if I click on Northern, it will show me all the cities under Northern which I've added. Awesome. Going back to the back end, next let's go over to custom fields. Custom fields are the various attributes a particular category can have on your listing website. For instance, if you want users to be able to add a car as a listing on your website, they should be able to choose from parameters like the brand, the model, mileage, engine capacity, engine type, and many more. So let's see how we can add a custom field. To do that, I click on add new. Let's assume we want to add this custom fields for building materials. And under building materials, we have soft materials and hard materials. So the title, I can say building materials field. Next, you need to choose where you want to include this field you are creating. You have the option to include it for all your categories, and then you also have the option to include it for some selected categories. This is what we want to use. We want to add it to some selected categories. After choosing this, under listing categories, you need to make sure that the particular category where you want to add it to is selected. So I select building materials as well as building tools. Next, I add a new field, and from here you choose whichever field you want to add. For this particular one, I'm going to use select so that users will have to choose from a list. The field label I'm going to call is texture. Next is field slag. This will be set automatically. You can choose to enter a description if you want. You can also go ahead and choose an icon for the particular field you are creating. I'll leave this as empty for now. You can also decide if you want to make it a required field, and that is what I want to do. You want to include this field in the filter widget. I choose yes. I'll also include it in the listing. Yes. Next, I go ahead and set the options I want. And the first option is going to be soft. So I want users to be able to select if the product they are adding is going to be soft or hard. So the first option will be soft, and the value I enter soft in small letters. Next, I add new option, and this one I will call it hard, and the option will be hard in small letters. So if users are trying to create a building materials listing, they have the opportunity to choose a texture that is either soft or hard. Perfect. And it should be noted that you can add as many fields as you want. I'll leave this for now. Then I'll go ahead and publish. Perfect. Now that we have our category set, let's see how users can add listings onto our website. Before we do that, I want to give my users the opportunity to add free listings. So I go over to settings. Then I go over to membership. Scrolling down to the end, we have free hours. I go ahead and enable it. And with this feature, users will be able to add free hours on my listing website. So I just have to set the number of free hours they can add. The default one is set to 3. I can set whatever number of hours I want. For now, let me make it 10. And then the renewal number of days for free hours is 30 days. You can also decide if you want users to post unlimited free hours. I'll leave this for now. Next thing you may want to consider is choose the particular categories where you want users to add free listings. I'll leave all this for now. Then I'll go ahead and save the changes. I just want to enable this to show you how users can add listings on your website. We will later come back to the settings and go through all these tabs we have right here. One thing I also need to do is give users the opportunity to be able to create accounts on my website. To do that, I go over to account and policy. And the first one we have right here is account creation. You see that it's not enabled, so I click on account creation, where I allow visitor to create an account on the my account page. The next field is hide name. That is, if you don't want users to enter their names at the registration form, you can enable this. We also have hide phone number. At the moment it's not enabled. I'll leave it as it is. You can decide if the phone number should be required or not. You can also decide if you want to separate the registration form from the login page. So if I enable this, the registration form will be separated from the login page. I'll leave the default for now. The next important field here is user verification. It is important you enable user verification so that users will be required to verify through their emails. That is the email they use to register on your website. If you don't enable this, you are only giving users the opportunity to spam your website. Next, we have terms and conditions. I want to enable listing terms and conditions. I'll also enable terms and conditions at checkout page, and then I'll enable it at the registration page. From here, I drop down the arrow, then I go ahead and choose my terms and conditions page. I have it here, terms of service. Going down, I choose the privacy policy page. I have it right here. Then I go down and click on save changes. Now let's see how users can register and also add listings on our website. So I've opened a new private window. I'll go ahead and click on post your ad, and I'll be required to log in. Meanwhile, at the moment, I don't have any credentials on the website. So I click on register. I'll go ahead and register a fresh account. I can enter in my phone number, which is optional. Next, I choose a username. I enter in my email. I choose a password. I go ahead and confirm it. Going down, I agree to the privacy policy and then terms of conditions. Then I go ahead and click on register. You have successfully registered on our website. Please check your email. We send a verification mail to verify your email address. I have the verification email here. I open it up. Then I go ahead and click on this link. Click here to confirm your email address, which will open in a new tab. And now your account email address is verified. Let's go ahead and log in. As you can see, my free hours is set to 10, so I'll be able to add 10 free hours. To add my listing, I click on post your ad. First, I select the ad type, which is barter. Going down, next is category. You see that after choosing barter, I have only building materials, and that is because it's only the building materials category that is having the ad type barter. Now if I go and select sell, I will have a whole lot of categories right here, simply because all the categories on the website before I added building materials are all having the sell listing type. So I'll go back and select barter. Then I choose building materials. The subcategory, I have only building tools, and I'll be redirected to the next step. The title, I enter shovel. And the pricing, it can either be price range, or disabled. With the price, you can choose from fixed, negotiable, or on call. With the range, you can set from a minimum to a maximum price. And then the disabled, with that one, there wouldn't be any price displayed. I'll choose the price, and I'll go ahead and make it fixed. Then I enter 55. Next is the texture field that we created. If I drop down the arrow, I'll have soft and hard. Since I'm creating a shovel, I'll just go ahead and select hard. Next, I enter in the description of my product. So I'll say this is a description for a shovel, like that. Going down, I can add some features. Maybe I say blue color, hit enter. So if you want to add so many features, every single feature should come in a new line. I have wooden handle. something like that. Maybe rounded, blade. Alright, I have 3 features. Going down, I add some images, and it should be noted that you can upload up to 5 images. So I click on browse files. I'll select this. If I want, I can hold down Ctrl key on the keyboard and select all the images I want to add, just like this. Then I click on open. After adding them, I can rearrange them, so whichever one that is first will be the featured image. Going down, if you have a video URL to the product you are adding, you can enter it in here, and the link should be coming from either YouTube or Vimeo. I'll leave it as empty for now. Next, I select the state, and I'm going to go ahead and choose Northern. That is one of the locations I added, and the city will be Tamale. You can add zip code, address, phone number, which is already entered. You can also add a website. If you don't want your email address to be displayed, you can take it off like this. Going down, you can either decide to show a map or not. Maybe I say do not show map, and I agree to the terms and conditions. I go ahead and submit. Thank you for submitting your ad, and I will be redirected to the pricing page where I will be offered any of these pricing options. So with this pricing, it means that if I buy any of this, I should be able to boost my listing on the website. And since we are trying to create a free listing, we don't go here for now. I'll show you how the pricing works later on in the tutorial. So I'll just scroll to the bottom and click on go to my account. And now my free ads is set to 9 because I've used one of them. If I go to my listings, I have my listing here, which is currently set to pending. So the administrator of the website will have to approve my listing before it will come live on the site. So if I go back to the website as an administrator, then I go over to all listings. I have the listing right here, which is set to pending. All what I need to do is go ahead and click on it. Then I make sure that everything is in line with the terms and conditions of my website as the administrator. When all is set, I'll come to status. I drop down the arrow, then I go ahead and choose published, then I click on save. Now if I come back to my account as the client and I refresh, you see that the status is now set to published. So if I go to all ads, going down, you see the new listing right here. So users can easily come here, then they get in touch with me to make the deal. So on the single listing page, we have the price, the product description, the features. Remember, these are the features I set when I was creating the listing. We also have the location as well as the date on which the listing was created. Perfect. So that's it on how users can add listings on our website. I can exit from here for now. Now let's see how customers can create stores on our website. Before we do that, first of all, let's take a look at how we can create store categories as administrators. To do that, I go to the back end of my website. Then under classify listings, I click on store categories. At the moment, these are the 3 store categories we have on our website. These 3 categories came with the demo content we imported. So let's see how we can create our own categories. Under name, I enter the category I want to create. I enter agriculture. Scrolling down, I click on add new category. It is added. I add another one. I call this one IT and Tech. I click on add new category, and it's also added. It should be noted that you can add as many as you want. Also take notice that these categories are only for stores and not categories for listings. And whatever store categories you are going to be having here will have to be based on the listings categories you have on your website. Now let's see how sellers can create stores on our website. I've logged in as a seller in a new private window. I go over to accounts. Under the account menu right here, I have store. I click on it. From here, I go ahead and enter my store details. So I start with store banner. This is an image that will be displayed as the banner of your store, just as we have a banner right here. So I click on the plus icon. I'll just select this as an example, then I click on open. Next, I choose a logo. I click on the plus icon. I'll use this as an example. Awesome. Going down, next I choose my store schedule, that is opening hours. I can either select always open or I choose some selected working hours. I'll choose always open. Next section is store information, and the first one I have is store Slack, that is the URL. I'll enter Dikupages, and the store name is going to be Dikupages Web. If you have a slogan, you can go ahead and add it. I'll leave this as empty for now. You can always come back to it. Next is store category. I drop down the arrow and I go ahead and choose IT and tech. Users can also add in their email, phone numbers, website address, and then physical address. I'll just leave all these fields empty for now. Next is description. This is where I want to enter information about my business. If I have some social media accounts, I can go ahead and enter them right here. Going down, I click on update store and it is updated. Now if I go over to stores, that is the page all the stores will be listed, and this is the new store I just created for myself. If I click on it, you see the store banner, the logo, the name of my store. The store category is IT and tech, and I don't have any ratings at the moment. Going down, you see all the listings I have on my store. This is the description of my business, and then right here is the store information, and my working hours is set to always open. Awesome. So this is how sellers can create stores on our listing website. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing is a crucial part when it comes to running a listing website. So to add pricing on our website, I go over to classify listing, then I click on pricing. Here, the system offers you two different kinds of pricing. It has regular pricing and a membership pricing. By default, the demo content has already given us some pricing here. If you come to the membership, they have plan 1 and then plan 2. And then the regular prices, they have bump up for 5 days, top and featured listing for 7 days, top and featured listing for 15 days, and then top listings for 15 days. It should be noted that whatever name you are seeing here is not what you should stick to. You can also come out with your own pricing names. The most important thing is what a particular price will entail is what matters. So now let me show you how you can create a regular price. To do that, I click on add new. First, I'm going to go ahead and create a featured price. So I enter featured listing for 3 days. Under pricing option, the first field we have is pricing type. As you can see, we have regular. Dropping down the arrow, you also see membership. Since we are creating a regular price, I'll stick to regular. Next is price field, where I enter the actual price for the featured listing I'm creating. So featured listing for 3 days, I'll just price it as $5. And take note, I've set the validity as 3. This 3 days here doesn't really mean anything. It's just what users will see when they try to buy this particular price. So in order to set the actual number of days, this is where you have to do that. That is valid until. So I enter 3 right here. So when users buy this particular pricing option, their listings will be set as featured for 3 days. Take note, setting all this doesn't really mean it's actually a featured listing option. To actually make it a featured listing price, this is where we do that. That is allowed. We choose featured. Now let me show you what featured top and bump up listings are. If I go to the front end of my website, right here, I have 3 top listings. As you can see on each one of them, there's a green border surrounding each one of them. If I go to the rest of them, you see that I don't have the green color on them. So this green border color indicates that it's a top listing. Apart from that, we have this yellow banner right here which indicate featured. So any listing that you see this particular banner, it means that it's a featured listing. If I scroll down, you see featured listing here as well as here. So this particular item can be a featured as well as top listing. You see that it's Galaxy Note. If I scroll up, I have Galaxy Note here. It means that it is a top listing as well as a featured listing. The third one is bump up. I don't really have a bump up right here. However, how bump up works, you usually see a bump up ad in the middle of all the listings we have right here. If I go to the Classima theme and the theme forest, you see how they have indicated top listing, even though here they are using the list view, whereas we are using the grid view. It doesn't really matter. So if I go back, so the top listing, you see that there is a background color that is yellow background, which is light, and the border is also yellow, which is deeper than the background itself. So this indicates top listing. The next one is featured ad, that is having this symbol right here to indicate that it's a featured ad. And then finally we have bump up ads, and you see that this particular one has found itself in the midst of all the listings. Awesome. So going back to the pricing, I can give it a description if I want. So I can say featured for 3 days. All is set. I go ahead and click on publish. It is published. Next, I go back to pricing and I have it right here, featured listing for 3 days, which is a regular price, and the price is $5 and it's going to be visible for 3 days. Under promotions, you see that featured is tick marked. Awesome. Now it should be noted that you can combine all these 3 promotion options, that is featured, top and bump up. For instance, like this one they have here, top and featured listing for 7 days. You see that featured is tick marked as well as top. So you can easily go ahead and mix and match them as you wish. Now let's see how we can create a membership plan. To do that, I click on add new. I'll call it plan 3 since I already have plan 1 and 2. Under pricing type, I drop down the arrow, I choose membership, and you see that I have more options after choosing membership. I'm going to set the price as $99. Next is total number of hours. This is where you add the number of listings users can create with this particular price. So I enter 100. Next is promotions. Do you want them to have featured, top and bump up listings with this particular price? If no, then you have to leave everything as they are. For this demonstration, I want to give them some featured, top and then bump up listings. So for featured, I would say they can be able to add 15 featured hours, which is going to be valid for 10 days. They will be able to add 5 top hours, which is going to be valid for 10 days. And finally, they'll be able to add 10 bump up, which is going to be valid for 5 days. The next field is valid until. This is where we enter the number of days this membership is going to last. Maybe I'll enter 60 to represent 2 months. Going down, I can decide which categories I want this membership to affect. So the particular categories I want this membership package to affect, I will just go ahead and select them like this. However, if I want it to affect all these categories, what I need to do is leave everything unchecked like this. Going down, I can give a description. I've already shown you how you can add description, so I leave it as empty for now. Going up, I click on publish. Now let's go back to pricing, and you see that we have our plan 3 right here. The pricing type is membership. The price is $99, which is going to be valid for 60 days. And under promotions, we have these options. Perfect. With the pricing being set, sellers can now be able to buy membership packages through their dashboard. And they can only buy the regular packages when they try to create a listing. So I've logged in as a seller. On my account dashboard, you see that you have no membership. you can buy a membership from here. So if I click on this link, it will take me to the checkout page where I can choose either plan 1, plan 2 or plan 3. Then I go ahead and fill these details and check out. Awesome. Now that we are done setting up our prices, let's see how we can go into the settings into detail. So I click on settings. On the settings page, we have everything grouped into tabs. And the first tab we have is general. Under general, we have two options, which is general and then directory. At the moment, general is active. And the first option we have here is include results from child categories and then child locations. If users try to perform search on our website by using the keywords, whatever results they will be getting should come from child categories as well as child locations. Now if I click on select location, these are the main locations. If I click on California, these are the child locations. I exit out of here. Now let me show you child categories. Select category. These are the main categories. Now if I choose business and industry, these are the child categories. I exit out of here. Going back, so all these are selected. I leave them as they are. Next is listings per page. How many listings do you want to see on the listings page? At the moment it is set to 9. That is the default. You can enter whatever number you want. However, if you leave it as 0, it means that you want to show all the listings on your website. And you don't want to do that. It will only succeed in making your page slow. Next is number of listing for related listing. At the moment it is set to 4. Now if I go to the front end, then I go over to properties. I go ahead and select this listing. If I scroll to the bottom, you see related as. So these are the related listings. At the moment they are set to 4. I can scroll here to see the additional one. Awesome. Can scroll back like that. So whatever number you want to be displayed here, this is where you want to set it. Next is enable quick view and enable compare. If I go to the listings page and I hover on a particular listing, you see these options. With the first one, you'll be able to add it to your wish list or your favorites. The second one is the quick view. If I click on it, it will open it up in a pop-up like this. So I can have a sneak peek of the product. I exit out of here. And the third option is compare. If I click, I have it right here ready to be compared with another product. Maybe if I click on compare on this one as well, you see that. Let me add this one as well. Now going back to the settings, you see that the compare limit is set to 3 and you can enter whatever value you want. Maybe I want to make it 5. Now if I go back and click on compare, so this is where I have all the features to the various products side by side. If I want to remove a particular one from the compare list, I can just click on the delete icon. Perfect. Going back to settings, next is enable mark as sold. At the moment it's set to enabled. If I go to the front end and I click on all as, you see that this particular product is marked as sold. So it means that user won't be able to buy this particular product. Let me show you how sellers can mark their products as sold products. So if I log in as a seller and go to my listings page, I can easily click on mark as sold on a particular product I want to indicate as sold. So I click on mark as sold and now you see the sold out strip. I can equally mark it as unsold. Now if I go back to the listings page and I refresh, you see that the shovel product is having the sold out strip because I've just marked it as sold out. Perfect. Going back to settings, next is default listing view. At the moment it is set to grid view. I can drop down the arrow, then I go ahead and choose list view. Next is order listing by. At the moment it is set to date posted. You can choose by title, by price, by view count or random. I'll leave it as the default, which is date posted. And the sort, you can either choose ascending or descending, whichever one you want. Next is category or location order by. This is where you want to determine how your categories or locations are going to be sorted. You can either select by name, ID, count, slag, custom order, or you can just leave it as none. I leave the default. Next is text editor. You can choose to have WordPress editor or text area. With WordPress editor, you'll be able to format your text whichever way you want. For instance, by applying bold, italic, adding colors, and what have you. But with text area, you will not be given the options to format your text. So I leave it as WP editor. Going down to location section, at the moment the location tab is set to local. You can also decide to use geolocation. If I go to the front end and go to the top, this is what the system means by local locations. That is where you have to enter the locations manually. Now, if I go back to the settings, I'm going to go ahead and choose geolocation. And I'll show you how that works in a moment. And you can always narrow down your location by first level, which is state, second level, which is city, and third level, which is town. Next, we have currency options. This is where you want to set the currency you want to have on your website. Since I'm from Ghana, I'm going to go ahead and choose Ghana cedis. Next is currency position. Where do you want to have the currency sign? You can either choose left, right, left with space, and then right with space. I think just left will do. That is the default. And thousand separator is comma. Decimal separator is dot. Finally, we have information where you can enter some information as an administrator that will be displayed to sellers' dashboards. I leave it as empty for now, and I'll go ahead and click on Save Changes. Now, the major changes I've done here is the listing view as well as the location. So let me show you how they will come up. If I go to the front end, I exit from here, then I refresh. Now you see that the listings are now in list view. Awesome. So whichever one you want, you can switch accordingly. Users also have the option to choose whichever listing option they want from the front end. So I can decide to go by grid like this or by list. However, it should be noted that whichever one they select from here is not going to be permanent. Now let's go to our location. You see that we now have this icon right here, which shows that we are not using the local location anymore. If I click in here, then I begin to type, for instance, Tamale. I will be presented with all locations that has Tamale in them, as you can see right here. So with the geolocation, users are not limited to the particular locations you'll be setting on your website. And I think this is cool. So I leave this for now. Going back, next we go over to moderation. The first option we have here is listing duration. This is where you set the number of days you want all listings to have on your website. At the moment it is set to 0, which means all listings will be kept on the website indefinitely. So for instance, if I enter 30, it means that all listings on my website will last for 30 days. Next, we have new listing threshold. This is where you want to enter the number of days listings will be tagged as new listings. For instance, if I go to the front end and scroll down, you see that this listing is indicating new. So at the moment it is set to 155 days. It should be noted that whatever figure you have here will also be controlled by whatever figure you'll be entering here. Since I have 30 to be here, meaning the listing will not even be up to 155 days. So whatever settings you want to enter here will depend upon what you want. For now, I will make this 10 days. And the label text for new listing is new. I'll leave it as it is. Label text for featured listing is featured. The next field is popular listing threshold. This is where you enter a minimum number of views that will be required for a listing to be considered as a popular listing. At the moment, I think it is set to 1000, and I'm going to go ahead and leave it like that. The label text for popular listing is set to popular. I leave it as it is. Top listing is top, and then bump up, I'll just enter bump up. Awesome. Going down, next we have enable top listing at listing page. If we go to the listings page, These are the top listings. That is the listing that is having the yellow background. So we are seeing them here simply because this checkbox is marked. Top listing number to be displayed is set to 3. Maybe I want to make it 4. Next is listing seller information and store contact information. So who should see this particular information? If I check all these, it means that only registered users will be able to see listing seller information and then store contact information. So I'll leave it as unchecked so that every single user on the website will be able to have access to the seller information as well as the contact information. Next is show in listing. This is where you want to select the parameters which you want to be displayed on the listing page. So if I go to the listing page, all the details you are seeing here is as a result of whichever ones you have selected here. And I think I'll leave them as they are. Going down, we also have show listing in detail page. And this is talking about the single listing page. So whatever you want to see on the single listing page, this is where you want to select them up. Next is renew listing. If this checkbox is enabled, it means that every single listing that will be expiring will be renewed automatically, and I don't think you want that, so I will leave it unchecked. And the rest of these checkboxes should all be checked. That is for favorite, reporting of abuse, contact form, and what have you. Going down, next is maximum images allowed per listing. The number of images sellers can add is set to 5 at the moment. You can enter whatever number you want, and I think 5 is cool. Next is delete expired listing. So if a listing is expired, it will only have this number of days to be on the website. However, it will only be shown on the seller's dashboard. It will not be visible live on the site. So if they still want to renew that listing, they will go ahead and do the renewal. Next, we have new listing status, which is set to pending. Now, if I select publish, it means that anytime a seller adds a listing, it will publish automatically, and I don't think you want that. You always need to make sure all listings are moderated, so I leave it as pending. Next is listing status after edit. If they make some editing, do you want the listing to remain published or pending? This is where you want to choose whichever option you want. And I think it's good you always make sure that every listing adheres to your terms and conditions. Next, we have listing form. This is where you can set the title character limit. That is how many characters do you want sellers to be able to add as the titles of their listings. If you leave it as empty, it means that they will be able to enter whatever number of characters they want. And I think that is cool. Next is description limit. So here as well, you can enter the number of characters you want users to be able to add as the listing description. Next, we have hide form fields. This is where you can hide the field you don't want to be displayed when users are trying to create listings. I think everything is important here, so I leave them as they are. Maybe I don't want users to enter their email, website, and perhaps the zip code. All is set. I go ahead and click on Save Changes. Next, I go over to Payment. First of all, let's look at the checkout options. This is where you need to make sure that payment is enabled so that you'll be able to charge your users for posting listings on your website. Another important feature here is subscription. This is where you can enable subscription for membership. And it should be noted that this feature is available for only Stripe and Authorize.net. Unfortunately, where I am coming from, Stripe and Authorize.net are not available. So I wouldn't be able to take you through how you can configure them. Lastly, we have currency options. This is the currency that will be displayed when users try to buy memberships or regular ads. I change it to Ghana cedis since I am in Ghana. The currency position, I'll choose left. Then I'll go ahead and click on Save Changes. Next, let's go ahead and configure our payment gateway. For this tutorial, I'll only limit it to offline payment gateway, simply because the rest of the payment gateways are not available in my country. So I click on offline, and you see that it is bank transfer, and this is where you want to give description for the payment gateway, and finally the instruction. That is how users will pay the money into your account. So here you want to enter your real actual account name, the account number, as well as the name of the bank. For demonstration purpose, I'll just leave them as they are. Then I'll go ahead and save the changes. Now if I go to PayPal, here to enable PayPal, the only thing you need to do is go ahead and click on Enable PayPal Standard. Then in here, you enter the email address to your PayPal account. Then you go ahead and save the changes. I'm only here to show you how you can enable PayPal. Next, we go over to email. This is where you want to select which action from which you want to receive a notification. And you get option for administrator as well as users. For users, you need to make sure that everything is selected because some of the messages the administrator doesn't really need to receive them. For instance, if a listing is expiring, it's not the business of the administrator, it's only the seller who will decide if they want to renew the listing or not. So here we don't really do anything. Next, we go over to account and policy. We already saw the account and policy settings earlier on in the tutorial. So here we don't really need to do anything again. Next, we go over to style. This is where you can select colors for the labels you have on your website. I'll just leave the default colors, but just in case you want to change a particular color, all you need to do is click on select color. Then you can go ahead and choose whichever color you want. Next, we go over to miscellaneous. From here, you can set the sizes to the images you'll be having on your website. And I think the default looks fine, so I don't do anything here. And these are the various allowed image type. Maybe I can also allow WebP, which is very light as compared to the rest of the 3 image extensions here. Next is allow image memory size. By default, it is set to 3 megabytes. So users will not be able to upload images that are higher than 3 megabytes. For this, I'm going to make it 2 megabytes. Next, you can give your users the opportunity to edit the images they will be uploading onto your website. If you don't want them to be able to edit their images, then you go ahead and uncheck this. Going down, next is single listing. We have gallery slider, gallery zoom, gallery lightbox, and then gallery video. If you don't want users to be able to see any of these, then you go ahead and disable them from here. Now if I go to the front end, and I'm going to go ahead and choose this. If I hover, this is the gallery slider, as you can see. So if you don't want this, this is where you can disable them and any other options. Going down to social share buttons. This is where you want to select the social platforms through which users can share your content. Pinterest is not selected. Maybe I can add that. And it should be noted that WhatsApp and Telegram are only available on mobile devices. Maybe I can enable Telegram as well. And you can show the social share buttons in the listing detail page, listings page, categories page, as well as locations page. I think showing them on the listing detail page is cool. So I leave the rest as they are. Going down, next is Google reCAPTCHA. By enabling reCAPTCHA on your website, it will add some level of security for your users. I'm not going to go into that, but just in case you need it, you can easily click here in order to register for Google reCAPTCHA. You can decide to use version 2 or version 3. So whichever one you want to use, you need to make sure that you get the site key and secret key accordingly. Going down, next we have map type. We have the option to use OpenStreetMap or Google Map. OpenStreetMap is easy to use. With Google Map, when you select it, you will need to go ahead and get a Google Map API keys. With Google Map API key, you will need to submit your credit card information. So if you don't want to do that, I think sticking to OpenStreetMap will be cool. Going down, I go ahead and click on Save Changes. Next, we go over to chat. So this is where you enable the chat feature on your website, which is defaultly set to enabled. So I leave it as it is. Next is unread message email. When this checkbox is enabled, sellers that are not online will be able to receive messages into their inbox so that they get the notification to be able to get back to their potential customers. Next, we have delete inactive conversation. So if there are chats for a seller which are not being viewed for 30 days, those chats will be deleted automatically. If you leave it as empty, what it means is that the charts will stay in the seller's inbox forever. Finally, you can regenerate the chart table by clicking here, and this will remove all chart history you have on your website. And I don't think you will want to do that. Upon making some changes, you make sure you click on Save Changes. Next, I go over to Advanced. This is where you want to set the permalinks of your web pages. And I think the default looks cool, so we don't really need to do anything here. Next, we go over to Tools. This has to do with data and app management. For instance, if you want to clear cache for all listings, this is where you can do that. All you need to do is just select Delete All Data, then you save your changes in order to do that. If you want to link a mobile app to your website, this is where you can manage that, as well as the app tab right here. So here we don't really need to do anything since we don't have any app to be linked to our website. Finally, we have membership. We already saw the membership settings earlier on in the tutorial when we tried to add listings as sellers. So basically, these are the various settings you can perform as far as working with the Classima team is concerned. Now that we are done with the settings, let's see how we can customize our website. To do that, I go to the front end. Remember, we have already gone through some of the customization settings like adding our logo, customizing the header, as well as the footer. So now let's see how we can go through some other customization settings. To do that, I click on Customize. The first customization setting we have here is advertisements. Now I am on a single listing page, and right here is an ad. So for you to be able to customize this, you need to go to the single listing page. And from here, you get different ad locations. They have their header ad. So if you need that, this is where you want to enable it. Then you go ahead and upload the image you want to set for the header image. Let me just show you how it works. So if I enable it, then I go ahead and upload an image. Maybe I want to use this. Then I click on select. You see it right here. Meanwhile, the image is very big. This is just for demonstration purpose. Then you want users to be able to go to the advertisers page. So if there's a link for this ad, this is where you want to enter the link. I just want to show you how it works. So I take this off. I don't really need it there. Now let me show you this particular ad location. If I scroll down, it is right here. That is after sidebar. So this is the sidebar. So after that, we have this ad. And you see that under image, there's a link here. So this is where the image is being added. And if you have a link to it, this is where you enter the link. If you don't need it, you can easily go ahead and click on remove in order to take it off. And it should be noted that there are other ad locations like the footer, before product contents. This is the product. So after the product content, you can have a banner ad right here. So enabling any of these ad locations will depend upon what you want. You see that there are plenty locations you can use on your website. For me, having it at the sidebar here looks cool. So I'll leave it as it is. Maybe I can later on make money through that. So scrolling up, I click on back. Similarly, you can go to any of these pages like the listing page, blog page, single post page, and even pages in order to add your banner ads. Going back, next we go to general. Remember, we have already seen some customizations under general like adding our logo. Now if I go to a seller's page or seller's account, you see that the seller is seeing the admin bar right here. If you don't want sellers to be able to see that, this is how you can disable it. We scroll to the end and you see that we have a hide admin bar. At the moment it is set to disabled. I go ahead and enable it. Now if I publish and I go to the seller's account and refresh, you see that the admin bar is gone. Awesome. I exit from here. Going back, from here you can add your contact information as well as social links if you have them. Maybe I don't need this phone number. I don't also need this email. Since they are dummy, I'll just take them off. And for the socials, I'll just leave them as they are for now. Then I go back. Next is header. Going down, we have different header styles. At the moment, this is the one we are using. That is the highlighted one. That is layout 1. Maybe let's choose layout 5 and see how it will come up. This is how it will look like. Let me hide the control so that I see it clearly. You see that. Going back, I think the layout 2 looks cool, so I'll switch back to it. Going down, we have header button text. This is where you can customize the text you want to have on your button. So maybe I will say add listing. Take note, this is for desktop, and for mobile it is post ad. See that it has changed, and I'll change that one to add listing. And this is the button link. You don't need to do anything, just leave it as it is. Going down, this is where we can change the banner image. That is this image right here. So I click on upload. I'll go ahead and use this, and I click on select, and you see it right here. So every single page that you were having the other image, this is the new image that will be displayed. And I'll leave the rest of them as they are. Then I go back. Meanwhile, you always have to click on publish after you have made some changes. We have already seen footer, so we don't go there. We have seen colors. Another important customization settings is the listing settings. Now if I go to all as, at the moment we are using style 7. So take notice of how style 7 looks like. If I choose style 1, you see that this one is kind of narrow. Let's see style 2, style 3, style 4, style 5. I think they don't really have much of a difference. It's only style 7 that is having a big difference. So I'll just leave it as style 7. Under grid view, we have different styles. First of all, let me change the list view to grid view. So this is how style 7 looks like. If I choose maybe 1, you see how 1 looks like. You see that on the top as there's no border. If I go back to style 7, you see the borders. So you can choose whichever one you want. Let's see style 2, style 3. See how style 3 is. Style 4. I think the 7 looks cool, so I'll stick to the 7. That is for grid. And this is where you can set the number of columns you want. At the moment it is set to 3. Let's see how 2 will look like. 2 is cool, but 4 will look clumsy, and I don't think you want 4. I'll stick to 3. For tablet it is set to 2, and mobile is set to 1 column. Going down, let's see list view styles. So I'll switch to list view first. At the moment we are using style 2. Let's see style 1. Okay, style 1 is cool. I think I like that. Let's see style 3. Style 3 too is not bad. Style 4. I think they are all nice. I'll stick to style 1. We also have single listing style. So if I open one of these, at the moment it is using style 2. Let's see style 1. I had the controls. This is how style 1 will look like. Let's see style 3. Then I hide the controls. I think style 3 is cool. Looking at how the overview is being displayed. Going back, let's see style 4. Hide controls. And style 4 too is not bad. Going back, I leave it as style 2. That is the default. And I'll leave the rest of them as they are. I save the changes, then I go back. And these are the various customization settings we want to do. The rest is either we have already seen them or they are not really important for our design. So I exit out of here. And that was the theme customization settings we've just performed. Alright, there you have it on how to create a classified listing website using WordPress and the Classima theme. It's been quite a journey, and I hope you found value from the tutorial. By now, you should be able to create your very own classified listing website, and do not hesitate to share your projects with us. If you have any questions or queries for me, kindly drop them in the comment box below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, thank you for being with me throughout this course.
Alright guys, I hope you found value in today's video. If you did, kindly hit the like button, subscribe if you have not yet subscribed, and also hit the notification bell so that each time I post a new video on this channel, you will be the first to know. Keep watching and I will see you in the next one.